Alright, so today video we talking about being impressionable. Being impressionable is one of the things that you have to deal with as experiencing of life. Now everybody's is accessible to being impressed, right? That's what I should say. Have an impression made on them. Now, I want to talk about a specific impression because you have different types of impressions that people can leave on you. Now, I want to talk about one that I still struggle with, and it's an impression of lust. Because lust left a very huge impression on my ideas and what I thought about to be what a woman should be. Impression has lost, has left, excuse me, things that I really should not even think about. You know what I'm saying? And I feel this is the same with everybody being impersonated on what society makes us to believe, what we should believe is to be correct, which is not the case. So I'm gonna start this off by at least saying that the Bible it's heavily, it's the truth, right? That's the best way I can explain it to somebody. It's the truth, because people might say, well, why do you think that the Bible is all true when you have these different documentations of the Bible? You have these different, well, just read it for yourself. That's my best explanation. Most people don't read for themselves, right? They like to go onto the internet and see what another person personification of the Bible is, right? Because y'all will personify how we feel about it. Because when I go and read the Bible, I might take something different. Somebody else going to read the Bible, they might most definitely take something different. All right. So I'm talking about this because being impressionable, you have a lot of this when you're young. Like most of the times, I'm now living a state of lust. Like, cause my mind was heavily geared towards lust. Like I'm constantly thinking about what a woman should do for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's basically what I should do for myself. Because at the end of the day, you are blessed. You are blessed with the wife. You are blessed with a good thing. This is when God finds favors upon a man, right? You don't, right? We can all go out and we can go make a wife. We can go make a partner. You know what I'm saying? We can go make them be a partner, but they're not gonna really be for us because that's not what God put into our lives. We're only just trying to reach and grab out of desperation or something. Now this is an impression that was left on me when I was young because I'm thinking that you're gonna be considered gay, you're gonna be considered a weak man because you haven't slept with no woman, you don't got no girlfriend or whatever. But in reality, I start to see a lot different. Like my mindset has changed dramatically from even looking at people with women are like as their favorite from God, because you really don't know if you have a wife from God, unless you two talk about God and you talk about, but even then you can have a poser, you can have somebody faking like they actually know God, right? Like they actually know them and then actually not doing what God is telling them what to do. So this is, I believe, this is advanced stuff, right? Because first, you need to know how to think about the opposite sex, the opposite gender. You need to know how to think about them correctly. Because I say, as a young man, growing, like, I did not have the best of thoughts. And I don't know if I have them now. You know what I'm saying? I just know that I try to keep it as close to God as I can as possible. Because when you don't have God, you don't have love, right? You can't just say you have love without God, because God is love, and God is patient. God is long suffering. He's more. He's all the fruits of the spirit. But one thing you should really be careful about being an impression upon is the secular love. Now I'm just learning this from Brother Josh and from what he's talking about in his classroom about secular love, right? People, they might say they love you, but you have speculations, you have stipulations to why they might love you, right? And this is the same thing with God. But how a person will secular might say, well, I love you because of this, because you do that for me. It's many different ways of how somebody can delude love, and you know, it really all comes down to, do they love God or not, you know? Because simple as that, as if you are messing with a person that love God, they know to respect you, and they know to treat you as they want to be treated, and love you through times when it's hard. So if you're dealing with somebody that is just using love, right? You can watch their fruit. You can watch by the stuff that they do, because a person that really has love, you really won't know until the end, until God closes your eyes, because love is not only a choice, it's an action, and it's something you have to commit to. It's not something that you can say and it's one time done thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I made these vows and say I love you. No, it's an action, and it's a constant thing you have to be thinking about, because love is awareness. You're being aware of the other person, not just being aware of your emotional needs or yourself. Because what love is really God. Like I said, you can't have God without love. You can't have love without God, because that's what God is. God is love, right? So anything that's not with God is hate. Anything that isn't preaching God or preaching any type of love, they're preaching hate. Because what you are supposed to do in society, you're supposed to grow from your parents. Once you find your husband or your wife, and you're supposed to grow from them, you're supposed to create a family, and this family is supposed to be situated under God. Now, what most young impressionable people do, they get impersonated by the world of what they think they're supposed to believe. But as such as, like, well, you're supposed to experience something before you meet your wife. And I remember everything that the world will tell you is wrong. It goes against the Bible. It goes against what it says. Like, the world will sit there and tell you, well, it's bad to be a virgin at a certain age. They tell you that, man, you gotta lose your virginity at 18. In reality, you're supposed to say that for the significant other. Now, when you hear this and you're young and you have desires in your body and your mind, you're gonna think I'm just saying bullshit. Like, be honest with me. Like, you're just thinking I'm just saying bullshit, because when you are absolutely supposed to save yourself for the right person, it's gonna be something that God ordained it to be. Now, if you're constantly sleeping with that person, sleep with that person, sleep with that person, then you don't even know if this is the right person for you, right? But you decide to settle down. And so now you're gonna have even more problems with your partner, because for one, you didn't commit to a vow that you're supposed to commit to with God. Now you broke the vow with God. You're having sex out of wedlock, and if you have a kid, that's even worse, because now you have it's horrible, because as a young person, you gotta know that just having sex and having a baby, it's not a goal to have. Really, your life, you give up your life when you have a kid, because when you are deciding to have a baby and have a kid, that's completely a whole nother level of life, right? You're entering a whole that's when you have to take care of something. You have to take care of something other than yourself, and you really have to, because you're now the parent of this kid, right? Now, however this kid decides to grow up or live this life, it's because of you, right? It's because of you and the person you chose. So, if you decide to just pump and dump and then lead this woman childless, I mean fatherless, you lead this woman as a single mother, or you leave a father. I mean, technically, when a father gets left with just his kids, he can still thrive and do well. But when it's a single mother, you always have problems. This is statistics because you're it's like the mom. She's not the man in the house. You know what I'm saying? She's not the so she doesn't make rules. She may allow boundaries, allow things to happen, but she really can't enforce it unless it's from a way that because she's not supposed to be the enforcer of the relationship. She's not supposed to enforce things. That's what the father's supposed to be there for. He's supposed to enforce and discipline and tell you what's right and wrong. Your mom can do this, but it's not gonna be as understood as a father would do this for you. Because if your dad disciplines you, you have an understanding that okay, uh, this is how life is. You know, this is how life works. It's more of a masculine approach to it. Like, it's hard to even say what it is because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I really don't know when I'm kind of missing out on masculine because I can say what I don't. I just feel like that it's not that serious to me when it comes to like rules and stuff. Like, I'm gonna just be myself. Now, when other people have dads and fathers and stuff like that, they seem to abide more by the rules and be more traditional. I guess that's the best way to say it, traditional. Uh, but your father, even your father can teach you bad things. Like, they can hurt you in ways that they should not. Like, man, so it's not all good just because you have a father or anything like that. What I'm saying is, it's the lust part about it, because when you decide to sleep with a woman and you don't know if you're gonna have a baby or not, you're gonna be a father, right? And being a father is very important because you either have the ability to raise up a child that's gonna be just like you, or you get to do something different, right? You get to actually give up sacrifice your life for the betterment of this child, right? So this is what God wants you to do, but it will be natural. It'll be something natural because you're doing it in wedlock. But if you're trying to do this stuff out of wedlock, you're going to have problems. You're going to face this. You're going to, like, your child is going to face problems. You're going to face problems. It's not going to be a good situation. So I think that this is a good time period that we are actually learning about lust as men, and really the people who are listening, who are actually listening to God, will actually understand this and be safe from what the world is having to offer, because the lust that this world offers to a young man is to destroy him, right? It may put chest hairs, it may give you an ego or whatever, but it's gonna destroy you because with lust, you don't get love. You know what I'm saying? Lust is like it's deadly. It's deadly because it's coming from a selfish place. It's coming from a prideful place. It's rooted in the seven deadly sins. It's like you can't get one sin without having the other sin because they all stem from one, in which I think is pride, because all the sins can typically really stem from pride. But uh, that's why I think it's just, man, uh, be careful being impersonated on and who you think as cool, right? Because you gotta also keep in mind that if they're not living how God say live or living a way of life, they're suffering in some type of way. They're gonna be suffering mentally, emotionally, physically, because they didn't do it how God said do it. And so it's not gonna be that fulfilling towards anybody. Even so, if you just study people, just look at people, even people with wives and husbands or girlfriends or boyfriends or a lot of money or a lot of cars or a lot of women, a lot of boyfriends, they are not fulfilled in these lifestyles. They may seem as they're happy but they're still looking for the next high, right? What's going to make them happy? They're still looking for that. Maybe it's the uh, uh the you know what I'm saying? Because honestly, with me, I still struggle with lust, and lust is not a sexual thing, but it's like when you are lusting, just wanting something for a selfish reason. And that could be drugs, that can be alcohol, that can be my game. Like I'm lusting after gaming. Um, that can be a lot of different things what lust can actually impersonate upon you. And so you just gotta be man, you gotta just go against what society's trying to push to you, and you have to really pick up the Bible because if people are constantly talking about something sexual, something dealing with drugs, or something dealing with just fun, that people just want to have fun, you don't have a purpose behind the fun. You know what I'm saying? It's just fun. It's fun to be destructive. You know what I'm saying? Fun to just not give a fuck. When people are like that, they those are red flags. Those are big red flags because these people their fun is off of chaos. It's not built around God. It's built around chaos. So you don't want to become like these people. You don't want to just look for meaningless fun because you're going to get danger with fun, right? The whole reason why you have fun is because it's some risk there. It's something that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But I guess that's not all fun, but I can sit here talking loops and days about different types of fun and different types of sins and a reason why you want to sin and then the attention behind your sinning, and like it all means something towards God because God, he is actually he's aware. He's looking at everything you do, the way you think, the way you feel. He's more aware than you are aware of yourself. And if you understand that and actually sit back and study yourself, you would when you read the Bible, it will make so much sense to you why God is calling you not to sin. Because if you know where your error comes from and how you err in life and how you make mistakes, and it all comes from self doubt, sinning, you will be more conscious of the way you move and act. You know what I'm saying? Because God, he is not playing with nobody, right? And he'll allow you to linger your life out, keep slowly and slowly until you fuck it all the way up. And so this is something I can realize, like, but it's having that faith is really the most important, right? Because I'm not gonna end it off on a bad note, but you gotta have faith. Because even if you are going through something like Job is going through, you still gotta have faith that God is gonna take you out of those times. He's actually gonna bless you. But it's a lot. It's a lot deeper than that because we all have a part to play. But one thing about Job is he didn't curse God. So even while Job was going through his hard times in life, even while Job was going through, he didn't curse God. He was frustrated with understanding what did he do to God to even be in that position, right? He's like, man, so that's why Job was found noble. Job was found as the son of God, and this is why Job, I think, he got lifted up. He didn't actually die. Job just got carried up into heaven. Uh, and I just want to say that, man, be careful what the world impersonate them. You have to be mindful what they try to throw at you. And I say all this because it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. Like you have to constantly read and study for yourself of what you believe is to be right. You know what I'm saying? You have to constantly do stuff like that. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday process. You don't escape it. It's not like, you know, I took care of that problem, now everything's good. Everything should be good for the rest of my life. That's not how it works. You have to constantly clean yourself. This is like how you get dirty, how your teeth get dirty and brush your, you know, how you just go outside and you get musty, you get stinky. This is the same way life is. You know, you have to pay attention. At the same time, we might feel like we're purified, may feel like we're holy, but we still have to go and through that process to clean, make sure we're clean, to make sure that we are doing what God say do. Because if we, we're doing this one thing here for God, and oh, I'm all holy, I'm all saved now. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. Because actually, what it is you have to. It's a process, and this is what love is, right? Love is based in consistency. It's being consistent of what you believe to be true, right? Now, I'm not saying that when you rest or when you have your lazy days that you don't love God. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you have to be consistent, right? And so even when it's hard, in times when it's hard to actually like love God through the dark times, you have to remove yourself out the way and still believe in God. Um, it's crazy because you will be tested, right? You will have people around you that listen, and you will have people to test you. This is something that just when you start speaking, just when you start talking, you have people listening, right? And it's not just necessarily people in your household. You have spirits listening, right? Now these spirits, they're listening, and they're gonna test you, and they work through other people, just like God, right? And these spirits, they may be a clean spirit, may be the Holy Spirit itself, but you got to make sure that you are staying true to what you believe. You are just being yourself, right? Because the moment you miss the mark, you're sinning. The moment you try to act like somebody else, and it's not how you would act in that moment, you're not telling the truth, so you're not going to get the truth, right? And so the ways you communicate is more than talking. It's how you move, it's how you act, it's the way you respond to things. You don't have to say, well, I'm telling you the truth, because necessarily telling somebody the truth is just the way you move, the way you act, the way you do things, right? You don't have to sit here and talk to say, oh, I'm telling the truth. Telling the truth could just be how you live, right? I'm living in my truth. Now, when you go to somebody that's not living in the truth, I don't know. I really don't know, because I don't know if that's the truth or not. You know what I'm saying? I can't sit here and make judgment about somebody and what's the truth of their life, because we all have a manual to get back to God. We all have the Bible to pick up. We all have knowledge. We all have a brain. We all have patience and time that we can use to understand God, right? But when you mock God, and you mock Jesus, and you mock his Holy Spirit, and you don't do nothing to actually understand what they were talking about, you just talking and talking, you just mocking to mock them, be ready, because they're going to come back and they're going to test you in ways that you never thought, right? Because I remember actually in high school when I had said something crazy. I said maybe Jesus has schizophrenia, right? And lo and behold, as I get more older and more mature, I start to understand the Bible, start to understand what Jesus is talking about, and now I'm being labeled as the same thing. Now I feel as if schizophrenia is the same thing, because usually, and I'm gonna end it off at 25, but usually when you have a problem with the world, and it's how the world, because the world don't like to be approached, the world doesn't like to be convicted, they don't like to be shown how nasty their ways are. So when you come and approach the world and you talk about everything that God is talking about, they're going to look at you weird. They're going to find some way to talk down upon you. They're going to find some way to make fun of you, to make fun of the way, just make fun of you in general, because they're trying to mock God. They're trying to mock what you're standing for, right? And so this is why you have to study to make sure that whatever they're mocking you for or whatever they're making fun of you for, you know it's true, and you read it to be true, and you've seen it to be true, because everything that's in the Bible, you can do it for yourself. You can live for yourself. You can observe for yourself and see that what the Bible talks about is 100% accurate. Because what happened? What happened when you commit adultery? What happened when you gossip? What happened when you bring death to things? You bring death upon to yourself. And I can explain. I mean, like, I'm already going past my time, but I can explain how all these things that the Bible tell you don't do. It brings death upon you. It brings death upon your ideas, upon your creation, upon your creativity. It brings death to your spiritual life. It brings death to the way you perceive the world. It brings death to your innocence. It brings death to your pure heart, right? So it can keep going until bring death eternally for you, because all you did was choose death. All you do is chose to complain. All you did was chose to be a negative person. All you did was chose to think the worst about God and think the worst about His reality. So you chose death. This is important, because you gotta know what life is. You gotta know what death is, and you have to constantly choose life. You have to constantly wake up and choose to brush your teeth. You have to constantly wake up and choose to wash your body, to wash your hands, to wash your feet. You have to constantly wake up and make this choice, because if you don't, you're gonna make a choice. Well, oh shit, I'm gonna choose to be dirty today. I'm gonna miss the mark. I'm gonna choose to be not clean today, and that's spiritual too. That's the spirit. Like, when I'm saying dirty as like you physically dirty, I mean spiritually dirty as well, because soul below, soul above, soul within, soul without. Everything correlates. So how you take care of yourself on the outside, the physical world, it's going to show in the eternal world. It's going to show. Now that might not be the case for everybody, but I'm pretty sure that's 99% accurate. So within and so without. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video off right here. I know I made it almost 30 minutes, but it's been almost a week since I really uploaded. I might give y'all a double upload today.